Okay, this is Monday. Followed Riley. Should have followed my, I don't know if I could have done those. Entry there. How would you know to enter there? How is it different than that? Pull back. How would you know to enter there? But this channel.
Not gonna have a pullback? Yeah, we might not.
He's waiting for a pullback to enter.
Definitely I mean, if it pulled back here, like that would be
here.
what I want, Pull back right to here would have been great looking. Pull back all the way from up here. It can still work out. I've been looking at charts, and a big move like that can still totally pull back. I have to move up my entry a little bit. And the risk reward is not as good though. And so I gotta start thinking about that. It's like, okay, is the risk reward still really that good? Worth it to jump in on a pullback here? I began 3x to the highs. The idea is it's what was the entry on that? Just see on a 5 minute 77. I mean, it's still all the way down here. Like on a 5 minute, that still looks really clean. Now you do run the risk of like you just entering in on a fake higher and then continuing lower.
Okay, let's wait.
It's a little out of my comfort zone for feeling a little late. But it hasn't really had all these little pullbacks here are just micro pullbacks. It hasn't really had like a clean swing of a pullback. Like these are clean swings. And so to me, this is kind of one move up. And so it's still waiting for that 50% pullback before it does continue.
So he's waiting for it down here, 50% from there. Actually a little higher.
Again, on a 5 minute, it could easily do that.
I'll just change this to 1. Boy, he's exercising patience. He's got a strategy, which I never have. See, why not take a trade on this turn?
Definitely a little nervous about this. Part of me feels like, it's a little too late to jump in on a pullback like this. Part of me thinks it's just going to do this. It is kind of 50% pullback of this move. But if the overall thesis is it's bottoming off of this, entering in on a pullback is a good spot. And if it just doesn't quite do it and then goes up, that sucks.
That's what you have to learn to accept.
I think there's still, if this gets going, it's gonna pop this. An overall trend.
Okay, I decided to buy 1 right there.
Just have a little indecision, and I don't really want to jump in
1
with that. Just conflicting signals.
And we're going to stop her right at 50% point. Oh, that's a lot of money.
And maybe that's just me being scared, and I should just be jumping in. But it's definitely a little different than what I'm normally looking for. And also, in reality, just looking at what we've been doing, it's just kind of choppy now. Like, we might just be going into this. The edge seems like it's kind of drying up. The good entry I wanted would have been this pullback here, jumping in. that would have been the better one. The risk reward there was 4x up to here versus jumping in here is kind of like, it's getting worse.
Well, I made a mistake, it appears. $50. That's what just won. Holy shit. I should have just flattened it.
I think it's acting a little choppy at this point.
A little choppy.
I think it's
just get it down there, get out.
not really worth it at this point.
$11. Okay, well, that was just a waste of your time.
It's one of those spots where it's like I can see it going both directions. But I think there's more downside weakness. Just at this point, I just don't have a clear enough signal to jump on this move. And it was very, very good over here. And that's the hard part is like when looking at a 1 minute, trying to get these spots is like sometimes this movement, causes you to overthink. But I also, it's just choppiness. And so I think it's just the likelihood that it's not going to be an easy move to try and get a good win out of this. So.
All right, you're just looking at a gambling position right now.
I think this trade earlier was a little too aggressive. I do want to, I think, wait for the break of structure more often because that to me is a lot more, I'm way more confident in that. Like this trade, if it pulled back and filled me, I would have felt super solid about that entry there.
Right.
Have time to kind of pull up the stop loss. If I would still be in this, wait for this to move up. But I would feel a lot better about that versus here, I think it's a little too, with the idea that I think I need to think about that in terms of, well, these spikes can often move into these spikes and then more of a healthy downtrend. And so waiting to see that healthy downtrend. I think the flip side of that is like, well, it can just do this. But again, those aren't kind of moves I'm trying to look for. So this to me looks like it just is going to kind of bleed lower. It might find a bottom somewhere here. But I think I would want to wait for, again, some kind of break of structure, but then it's just, it's just kind of getting choppy. We might just be going sideways here for a while. To me, there's just like really not that much of an edge right now. And, you know, it's that. I think that even though it's frustrating kind of having that indecision, that comes from, you know, I think lack of clarity. And the lack of clarity is that this is just kind of a chop fest right now. And it's better to just stay out. So,
Yep, I agree.
I'm going to call it today on that. Yeah, it got really close to, I think, a really solid bottom. But I think to me it looks like it's going to make another low. So I need to think about this a little bit more of how I want to approach these spots. But I think, you know, again, wait for that break of structure is always better. So I'll see everyone tomorrow. Choppy week so far. Yeah, appreciate everyone being here as always. If you're new, go check out my YouTube videos. They have a lot of detailed explanation on what I'm trying to do. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I will be streaming the rest of the week. And hopefully, you know, I mean, it looks like we're still going to have some movement, but, you know, after last week, I guess just today is just kind of choppy. So see you around tomorrow.
Okay, and with that, I'm gonna take his cue.